Hello and welcome to Clasihandmade. So today is Stitch and Pattern Tuesday, and today is the 8th of February. So today I will be showing you how to make this gnome, and this is my Valentine gnome, and I'll be showing you how to make him. You will need four different color of yarn. You will need white for the beard, you'll need red for the body, and a skin tone color, and pink for his hat and his shoes. So let's get started. For the body, you will need also a hook, tapestry needle, and a pair of scissors and a darning needle. The hook I will be using today is a 3.5 hook. So I will be using a 3.5 hook. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to grab the color that I'm going to be using for my body of my gnome. I'm going to make a magic loop circle. Some people call it magic loop, magic circle, magic circle. Okay, we will say magic circle. Make a magic circle. Into the magic circle, you're going to put 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is row 1. You're going to pull your loop and pull the ends of your yarn to close the loop. You're going to, for row 2, we're going to put 2 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 12. So you can use a stitch marker here. You can put your stitch marker in your last stitch made. So 2 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 12 single crochet. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Remove your stitch marker and put it in the last stitch made. So we're going to continue on row 3, increasing. We're going to increase 6 times, so 1 single crochet, and into the next stitch you're going to increase. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet into the next, and at the end of row 3 you should have 18 single crochet. So continue putting 1 single crochet, increasing the next until you get to the end, and you should have 18. So I'm coming up to my last stitch. You know, when you have your right stitch, when you have your last stitch, you will be able to put 2 double crochet in there. So if you start with a single, you should end with a double. Place a stitch marker back in the stitch. So for row 4, we're going to do 2 single and then a double. And you're going to repeat this 5 more times for a total of 6 decrease, and you will have 6 increase, sorry, not decrease, increase, and you will have 24 stitches on row 4. So continue, and I'll reach you back at the end of row 4 where you should have 24 stitches. So we're going to move on to row 5, and for row 5 you're going to do 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th stitch you're going to put 2 double crochet for an increase, and you're going to repeat this until you get to the end where you're going to where your stitch marker is, and you're going to put 2 single crochet in your last stitch. So let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, then 2 double crochet in the next stitch. So repeat that until you get to your stitch marker where you will put 2 single crochet, and that will be round 5, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 5. So for row 6 you're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch, and you will need a piece of cardboard for the bottom of your gnome. So let's finish up rows. Go ahead and finish up row 6 by putting 1 single crochet into each stitch, and then I'll reach you back at the end of row 6. So I finished row 6 and I have a circle. I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to place it on my cardboard, and I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to draw on the outline of my bottom piece. I don't have to be perfect, just average. And then you're going to cut it out. You go ahead and cut out your piece, and I'll reach you back when I finish cutting my piece out. Finish cutting my cardboard out. So we're going to continue. The increase stopped at row 6. So for row 8 we're going to single crochet in the back loop, and let me zoom in so you can see. So I'm going to single crochet in the back loop, and you can turn your piece to the side, and the loop that is the farthest away from you, and so this is the front loop, this is the back loop. You're going to go into the back loop and you're going to single crochet. Let me place my stitch marker back, and you're going to single crochet all the way around. So this will be row, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is row 7. So row 7 you're going to single crochet in the back loop, and then from row 8 to row 17 you're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch, and your piece is going to start look like a hat. So go ahead and single crochet in each stitch in the back loop for row 7. Then row 8 to row 17 you're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 17, and we're going to start decreasing on row 18. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you right back at the end of row 17. So I finished my last row before I start decreasing. I'm going to take the cardboard that I cut out the circle, and I'm going to put it in the bottom of my gnome. So I should have told you need polyfill or any stuffing for your yarn, for your gnome, sorry, and you're going to start stuffing as you go. So you need some polyfill, and you're going to put your stuffing, well, it's polyfill, ends of yarn, or whatever you have to stuff, and you're going to continue stuffing your gnome as you go. So for row 20, sorry, jumping ahead, guys. So for row 18 I'm going to decrease. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3 single crochet, and then I'm going to decrease the 4th and 5th stitch, sorry. Yeah, so you're gonna, okay, I'm gonna put a little more polyfill. Yes, are we going to continue decreasing? Okay, so we're going to do 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do an invisible decrease. And you go for invisible decrease, you go into the front loop of your 2 stitches and you single crochet. So you're gonna repeat that by doing 3 single crochet and then a decrease stitch. And I'll meet you back at the end of round 18 where you will have 24 single crochet. So I finished row 18. So for row 19 we're going to put 1 single crochet into each of the 24 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So go ahead and finish up row 19 by putting 1 single crochet in the 24 stitches, and I'll reach you back at the end of row 19. So for row 20 you should just finish row 24, sorry guys, row 19 where you had 24 stitches. So you're going to continue decreasing on row 20 where you will do 2 single crochet and then a decrease, and you will do this for 6 times and you will have a total of 18 stitches. 2 single crochet, decrease, and you'll do the invisible decrease, 2 single crochet, decrease. So go ahead and continue row 20 and I'll meet you back at the end of row 20 where you will have 18 single crochet. So at the end of row 20 you should have 18 single crochet. So for row 21 you're going to continue decreasing, and at the end of row 21 you're going to have 12 single crochet, but continue stuffing your gnome, the body of your gnome, until you have, you know, a nice stiff or a nice stuffed body. So go ahead and repeat your decrease, and this decrease will be 1 single crochet. This round 21 will be 1 single crochet, a decrease. So you're going to do 1 single crochet in 1 stitch and then decrease 2, you know, to decrease 2 stitch will become 1. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that, and you're going to do the invisible. You don't have to necessarily do the invisible decrease because all the top of the gnome will be hidden under the hat, so you don't have to do the invisible decrease. You could just go ahead and decrease however you normally decrease, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 21. So I finished row 21, so I'm on to row 22, and I'm going to decrease. I have 12 stitches and I'm going to decrease until I have 6 stitches. So continue stuffing the gnome. If you can't get the stuffing in, you can use the back of your hook to get it into, because as you notice the hole is getting much smaller. So this is the last opportunity to stuff and make sure you get it the way you want it, because when you do row 22 2 you won't be able to stuff anything. It will be very hard to you to put any stuffing in that small hole. So I think my gnome is good that way. So I'm going to crochet by decreasing 6 times, and then we'll have a total of 6 stitches. And then and that will be row 22. When you finish row 22, you're going to slip stitch and fasten off, but leave enough yarn to close your hole up by using the tapestry needle. So I'll meet you back at the end of row 22. So I finished row 22 and I slip stitch into my last stitch. I'm going to pull my yarn out, take my tapestry needle, and I'm going to weave in to close the top of my gnome. So I'm going to close it off, weaving in and out of the top stitches, and then pull it tight to close. Make sure you not fasten the yarn. Then when you finish, you can just weave it into the body like that and leave it. Okay, so far this is what our gnome look like. Okay, so let's get started on the arms. So grab your skin color and let's get started on our arms. So I got my arm color. So to make your arm, you're going to make a magic circle, and into the magic circle you're going to put 8 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8. So pull your loop to close the circle, the end of the yarn, not the working end but the beginning end. So from A&R, you're going to do 1 single crochet into each stitch with this brown color or with the skin color for 4 rows. So 1 single crochet into each stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So go ahead and repeat this for row 3 and 4. 1 single crochet into each stitch, and don't forget to place your stitch marker in your last stitch made. So I'm going to continue working on my next 2 rows for a total of 4 rows with the skin color, and I'll reach you back at the end of row 4. So I'm coming to the end of row 4. So I'm going to make I'm going to do a single crochet, but I'm not going to finish the single crochet. So I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to get the color red. I'm going to get color red, and I'm going to pull it through the 2 loops, and this is how I'm going to join my next color. Pull the yarn, So this is what it looks like. So I'm going to work over my ends. I'm going to cut my skin color yarn, and I'm going to continue working row 5, 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet into each stitch for row 5 until I get to row 13. So 1 single crochet, and you could work over your ends. Yes, so I'm going to work after row 5. I'm going to continue working with the red. So you're going to have 4 rows of the skin color and 10 rows of the red for a total of 14 rows. So, and you're going to just put 1 single crochet into each stitch. And when you finish your 10 row of red color, I'll meet you back at the end of your 10 row of red. So you have a total of 14 rows. So I finished making my 2 arms for my gnome. Now we're going to move on to the nose. So you grab your skin color, make your magic loop. Into the magic loop, you're going to put 6 single crochet. Make 1 chain to secure your magic loop, and then into the magic loop, you're going to put 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull your yarn to close your loop. You're going to place your stitch marker in the last stitch made. Into the first stitch and the remaining stitch. So you have 6 single crochet. You're going to put 2 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 12 single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remove a stitch marker and put your last 2 double single crochet in the last stitch for a total of 12 single crochet. So we're going to continue increasing for row 3. For row 3, you're going to put 1 single crochet, increase into the next. So for a total of 18 single crochet. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. In the last single crochet, you're going to put 2 for a total of 18, 16, 17, 18. So you're going to stop increasing when you get 18 stitches. Put your stitch mark in the last stitch, and you're going to crochet into each stitch for a total 4 more rows. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so our piece will start to curve. So you can continue and go ahead and do your next 3 more rows, and you have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 3, 7 rows. And when you finish your next 3 rows, I'll reach you back at the end of your 7th row. So you'll continue putting 1 single crochet into each stitch. So I finished my rows, and I have a total from beginning to my finished rows, I have 7 rows. So what we're going to do, we're going to decrease. And we have our polyfill here, so as we go, we will stuff our nose. So you can put some, start stuffing your nose. So we're going to decrease 6 times. So 1 single crochet, decrease, and we're going to do the invisible decrease where you go in the front loop. 1 single crochet, single crochet, decrease, 1 single crochet, decrease, 1 single crochet, decrease, and you're going to continue this all the way to the end, and at the end of your row, which will be row 8, you should have 12 stitches. So I finished my decrease row of row 8, and I have 12 stitches. So for row 9, I'm going to continue decreasing, but instead I'll decrease 6 times, and we will have a total of 6 single crochet. So, and this time you're doing decrease, decrease all the way around. So make sure you stuff as you go before your hole get too small and then you can't put any stuff in. So go ahead and put some stuffing in there. Make sure your nose is firm. I think that is good. Nice nose. And I'm going to continue decreasing, decreasing. Okay, so I'm at my last 2 stitches, and I'm going to decrease these 2 stitches. I think I missed one, sorry. You gotta be careful. Make sure you're doing your decreases and you're grabbing the right stitches. Sometimes you could miss stitches, you know. That's why sometimes it's good to go and count again. But when you sew this on to the body, you won't even know the difference. So that's okay once the hole is closed up. Okay, so we're going to do our last decrease, fasten off, slip stitch into the next stitch, fasten off, leave enough tail to sew your nose onto the body. Slip stitch, sorry. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut and leave enough tail to, sorry, take your tapestry needle and you're going to weave in and out to close your nose, that little hole that you have there. So you have a little hole, so just make sure you close it up. After this, we're going to do the hat. Okay, so I close up my little hole. I'm going to put this aside. Grab your pink yarn or the color you choose for your hat, and we are going to start our hat. You need a stitch marker. So make your magic circle or your magic loop. Chain 1 to secure. In the magic loop, you're going to put 6 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Close your magic loop by pulling the end of the yarn. Okay. Place your stitch marker in your last stitch made. In the next 6 stitches, you're going to put 2 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 12 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remove a stitch marker and put your last 2 for a total of 12. 11, 12. Place a stitch marker in the last stitch made. So we're going to continue increasing. We're going to put 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and at the end of the round you should have 18 single crochet. Excuse me. 1 single crochet, increase for a total of 6 times, and you should have 18 stitches. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single, then the last one you'll put a double. Okay, and that's row 1, 2, 3. Row 3. For row 4 you're going to put 2 single and then an increase, 2 single, increase, and increase, you put 2 stitch in 1 stitch, increase, and you're going to repeat this all the way to the end, and I'll reach you back at the end of row 4. So at the end of row 4 you should have 24 single crochet. So for row 5 we're going to do 3 single and an increase. So you do 1 single, 2 single, 3 single crochet, and then increase into the next stitch. At this round, at the end of round 5, you should have a total of 30 single crochet. So you go ahead and put 3 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet into the next. So you're doing 3 single and then a double into the 4th, an increase into the 4th stitch. And when you finish that round 5, you're going to have 30 single crochet. So go ahead and finish that, and I'll reach you back at the end of that round. So we're at the end of round 5, and you should have 30 stitches. So from here on out, you're going to put, so from here, from row, you finish row 5, from row 6 to row 13, you're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 8 more rows. So the total rows you should have when you finish your 8 rows should be 13 rows for the hat. So go ahead and put 1 single crochet for the next 8 rows, and I'll meet you back at the end of your 8 rows. So you're at the end of round 13. You're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, fasten off your yarn, but leave a long enough tail to sew your hat onto the head of the gnome. It's okay. So we're going to do some embellishment on the gnome. I made a little, embellish a little heart onto his hat. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I use the red color that I was using. So I'm going to take my, you can put the ending at the back, make sure it's at the back. I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to place it on my hook. So I'm going to push it through, as you can see, from the outer part into the inner part. Grab your yarn and you're going to continue grabbing your yarn. So I'm going to do like a chain stitch on the outside, so you can see that I'm grabbing the yarn from the inside and bringing it on the top of the work. So you can use a tapestry needle and do this too, but I'm showing you how to do it with the crochet hook. So you're pushing it through the stitch and just bringing it through the chain like that. Okay, let's do that. And you're going to do it so you can make a shape of a heart. Okay, you could do it that way with the hook, or I'll show you how to do it with the needle. So you would cut a long enough piece, thread your tapestry needle, and you're just going to do some chain stitch. Okay, let me finish up this. Okay, so chain stitch, it's like basically embroidery on the outside. Okay, and you're going to bring it over while looking at it as you chain, you make your heart. So I'm gonna take it over here. Sometimes okay, it's a bit fiddly. I gotta make sure I get the right direction I want to go in. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to come down here, come across, and then I'm going to come down, and one more stitch down a bit here. I'm going to take a look at it and see if it's forming. So that's half of it. And I'm going to do the other half. This is not perfect, but it will work. Let me see. I think I'm going to go back into that stitch right there. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, go right there. Okay, and then we're going to go up. Remember, this is handmade, so it's not perfect. Okay, sorry. The body wants to get to the head. Put his hat on. He's rolling over. Okay, so you can see my art is forming. I'm going to keep looking at it as I stitch. And I'm just going averaging and going through some of the stitches on the hat. Okay, my needle came off, so I'm going to do that again. So you get the idea of what I'm doing. Just doing some top stitch embroidery on to make this heart. You're going to stitch that you're working before and just so see, it's a bit, I think I took it too much to the top. Should have bring it down a bit more, but you know what, I'm going to leave it that way. Okay, let's see, it's a bit big. I'm going to bring it down here. Getting the hang of it now, so I'm going to do the best I can here. So you see, should have been coming down here. What I should have done is bring it this part here, but I don't want to lose it out. I probably see it's a little too, should have bring it down a little more here, but you can work on yours and see where you want it to be. And so I'm just gonna take it down here, take it down right to the tip. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this stitch like that, so to connect the other side. Okay, all right, so we have our heart on our little gnome hat, and we're going to push it to the back to fasten off. And you could even continue making like a little swiggly little curve. Let me see if I could have enough thread to do that. You know, continue just making little stitches. And then what I do, I will just make a French knot. Make a French knot right here, wrapping it. Well, the thread is so short, so I'm going to wrap first and then just put it through the hook. Sorry, put it through the hook, and then, and this is where I'll fasten it off. Just make a French knot. Okay, then I push it through. I don't have to clip this off, so it's gonna be inside the hat. Okay, so this is how it looks. This one is a bit smaller, it's more on the front of the hat, and this one is a more so just play around with your heart. If I want, I could lose this out, but I'm going to leave it this way, so it's two different. Okay, so the last thing we will make now, we're going to make is little shoes like this little shoes here. We're going to make 2 of those. So I'm going to use my pink color to make that. Make your magic circle, and into your magic circle you're going to put, or your magic loop, whichever, you're going to put 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Close your loop. You close up your circle. Place your stitch marker into the last stitch made, and you're going to put 2 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 12. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it would look like that. So we just finished row 2. So from row 3 to 4 you're going to put 1 single crochet into each of those 12 stitches. So we're going to do 2 rows of just putting 1 single crochet into each stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 stitches for row 3. So for row 4 we're going to continue doing the same, 1 single crochet into each stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we should have 12 stitches here. So now we're going to decrease, and we're going to decrease 1 single crochet. We're going to and then we're going to decrease, and we're going to repeat this all the way around. So that's 2, 1 single crochet, 3, decrease, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you should have a total of 8 single crochet after you finish decreasing. And what you did, this decrease wrong. 5 is 1 single crochet and then decrease, and at the end of round 5 you should have 8 stitches. So we're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch for round 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, sorry guys, 7, 8. Might be out of frame, but you could hear what I'm saying. So there's 1 crochet, single crochet into each stitch. Okay, so that's round 6. Round 7, we're going to decrease, and we are going to decrease 4 times, and at the end of round 7 we should have 4 stitches. So 1, decrease, 2, as it gets smaller, get a little fidgety, but you can put a little, you don't need much stuffing in this, so make sure you put a little stuffing just at the front of your boots. Take your end of the hook and you can push it in there. Push the stuffing in the tip of the boots. So I just have to do 2 more decrease. No, that's 2. 1, 2. So we should have 4 stitches at the end of round 7. So your boots will look like a teardrop basically. And then you just slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off. And you go ahead and repeat this again for your second shoes. Leave enough tail for sewing. So you can continue working on your second shoe. Follow the pattern for the first, and I'll reach you back when you finish your second shoes, and we will assemble the gnome. So we are going to assemble our gnome now. So you're going to grab the piece for your legs, sorry. Make sure that you find the back of your gnome, which will be here. You can see where the back is, and you will attach. You can use pins. I have some pins here, and I'm going to pin my gnome feet on, just to make sure it's placed where I want it to be. So I'm going to pin both of them, and I'm putting it on at row 1, 2, 3, 4. Right at row 4 I'm putting my feet on, and I'm going to pin it just to make sure that's where I want it. And you're going to do the same thing to both of them. Or you could even turn it up like that. Okay, so I'm going to put the other one. I'm going to pin. I'm going to place it down. See, that's where it looks fine the way it is. So I'm going to sew it on permanently now. Grab your tapestry needle, and you're going to sew it right onto row 4. Once you put a few stitches, you could remove the needle that you put to hold it, and just continue sewing down your feet. Careful for your feet get caught. Just continue sewing. Make sure we're sew on. I get caught in the needle, in my pins that I pin my leg. It keep getting caught in my thread that I'm sewing. So you can go ahead and work on your feet by sewing them onto your body. So that's how my feet is. You could even go into the feet like this and then go to the front, and you just put a stitch right there at the tip to secure it exact on, so it won't be moving. Okay, and then you go back through the feet, so you see it's more secure. Okay, I'm going to take this in like that, and I'm going to leave it there until I finish sewing the other one. So I'm going to finish up sewing the next leg, and I'm going to come back when I'm done. I finished sewing my next feet on or the shoes, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to take the end, and I'm going to take it there, and I'm going to tie in a knot, and then I'm going to put it right back through the body of the gnome, you know, weave it in there. Okay, and then you can tie off the excess. It's just to, you tie that knot there just to secure everything, and you do the same thing with the other end, and you just weave it in, and okay, I'm just going to weave it in there so everything is nice and secure, and then cut the excess off. So the next part we will do, we will get the two arms, and we're going to pin it to the side, and we're going to pin from the top here, and you count like, so you count this bump, 1 2 3 4, so about round 3 I would say, and let's pin that, and then you do the same thing to the other one, and make sure it's where you want it. You can just put them together and see where it is, and then make sure that's where you want it, and they're all the same length, and not okay, so I'm going to make sure, and it's where I want it, right at row 4. So I think that'll look okay, don't you think? Is it touching the feet? I think they're okay. So, oh, and make sure you see this mistake here, make sure you want that to be in the inside, the join, you want that to be in the inside. So I think this arm is a bit too close, so I'm going to put it down a little bit. I think that look even. What do you think? So now we're going to get our tapestry needle, and we're going to sew the arm. I whip stitch my arm, or whip stitch stuff, so I just go into the body and then go over to the arm like that, then do the to the body, into the arm, into the body, into the arm, whip stitching it a couple of times. Make sure it's secure. You want to make sure everything is secure. This is not a toy, but you can give it to a child because it don't have any safety eyes or anything. And then I just take the part and push it through the remaining of the yarn and put it through to the back. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up the next arm, and I'll come back and show you how to attach the nose. So I finish attaching my second arm. I'm going to take the end, the remaining yarn, and take it right where I have the first yarn for the, and then I'm going to tie a knot, And then when I tie this knot, I'm going to weave it into the body. And this is just extra security. And I'm going to thread my needle. And I'm just going to weave the entire thing inside. Like this. Okay. Cut off the excess. You could save these ends for stuff. You could use it for stuffing. Alright, so far this is what our little gnome man look like. Now we're going to put his nose on. And just average, I would say about row 4, about row from where, let me see, right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right at about row 7. I'm going to attach his nose. Just put your nose right there. So let me thread my needle and I'm going to stitch his nose on. Okay. So just grab your, no, you can pin it too, but I just gonna hold it like this. And I'm going to sew about row, right this row here. That's where I'm going to put my needle through. So about, okay, I'm going to just go into the body. Okay, let me start this. Into the body and then go into the nose. So I'm at row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th row, I'm putting my needle to attach my nose. Okay. Just gonna sew it. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Just sewing. There's little nose on this bad guy. You know, these gnomes are very popular these days. You could make Christmas. Now it's Valentines, so I'm showing you to make a Valentine gnome. You could make, this is a little small one. You can make it, you know, sometimes your kids have gift giving in school. You can make a little gnome. And this one is quick. You could make it without the feet. You could make it with the feet. And so on. You can change up the hat. You don't have to do the embroidery on the hat. You can, there are lots of heart pattern. You can make a heart and put it into his hands. So many things you can do with this gnome. So you could change up the colors. You don't have to go with the colors that I have. You can choose whatever color you like. You could even use them for decor. Make fall ones, different ones. Okay, I keep losing my thread. So I'm going to finish up sewing my nose. And then after we finish sewing the nose, we're going to put the hat on. I think I'm going to make okay, so I think my nose is on where I want it to be. I'm going to fasten off here, make a knot. So I just put it halfway through. Wait a minute, I keep, and then I'm going to put it back here and tie it off. Then make go through here. See this loop here? I'm going to go through it. And then I'm going to weave the remaining into the nose. the same color, so I want to show. All right, so here we have our little guy all with his little big nose here. All right, so we're going to put his hat on now. Okay, so here we have him. And I would recommend that you pin this, because I'm finding that sometimes so we have his hat. If you wanted to make the hat bigger, taller, you can make hat bigger, a little longer. So I want his nose to be a little bit under the hat. So I'm going to pull it and kind of stuff his nose under there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pin. Because sometimes when you don't pin, you tend to move the stuff. Sorry. Keep hitting the tripod. So, see, you pin while you, and you can put some polyfill. Put some polyfill in his top of his hat to make it more, you know, stuff his hat at the top. So, that's good. So here's my little guy here again. And I'm going to pin it so it would give me a better chance to sew it where I want it. Okay, keep pinning and pulling and fixing. And then, you know, so here it is, little guy. And then we have to make his beard. I use yarn for his beard on one of them, and I also use what do you call this? This is yarn, but it's the yarn that you use to do the needle felt, the felting. And I find that I like that better, because for the beard, when you use the yarn, you have to brush it out and all that, and sometimes it could be a real pain. So if you have some felt and you have some felt needle, you can go ahead and felt your beard onto your gnome. But you know what? I brush my yarn. I use the yarn and I brush it. And then I take the felt, this needle, and I stab the yarn. Sorry guys. I felt it onto the body, the same acrylic yarn. So I'm going to show you what I did. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this hat, and you can go ahead and stitch your hat. And what I do, I don't whip stitch. I go through the body of the gnome and the hat by just doing some regular stitch like that. So I push it into that and make sure I catch the body. And then I remove my thread stitch mark, the needle, the pins as I go along, that I pin it in place with, and I just move it as I stitch it, and I know that it's secure. I would move the pin, because sometimes the pins could get into your way. So just do that. So go ahead, you see I'm showing you that all I'm stitching. Once you get it down, you can just go ahead and do that. Oh my word, guys, I am so sorry. I think that is better because I keep hitting the tripod. So I'm going to sew around the nose, because you want that to be right over the nose like that. So I'm going to try and sew it on so it would stay. Sometimes it's better to get a little, the yarn needle itself is not sharp at the end. It could be very blunt. It's a very blunt needle, and sometimes it's very hard to go through some of your stuffed animals or whatever you're making. And so it's better if you could get a little needle with a sharper, you know, tip when you're sewing, so you wouldn't get such a hassle. I want to do like that, so I probably just go down in there and go back to the other side. I want to make sure it's over the nose properly, so I'm going to sew, pull it down and go over to the other side, making sure that I catch right this side so it could be right around the nose, the hat. Okay, so I did that, so you see it's right over the nose, and I'm going to go back and continue stitching till I get back to the beginning. All right, so shape as you go, because sometimes I tend to squeeze him tight and when I squeeze tight I get it misshaped, so I have to shape it again as I go. So that's why I make sure that okay, so that's all the sewing, and then we're going to fasten off. So you make a loop like that, see here, and then you take your end and push it through the needle, push it through that loop, so you see it look like a chain stitch, and then you just go right back into the hat and you fasten off. And then you cut your yarn when you finish weaving in. So you did that, and you can just cut your yarn, and voila. So let's move this out of the way so you can see how the gnome is looking. So far this is what it looks like, and let's stand him up. And what we're going to do now, we're going to make some beard for the gnome. So this book is about 3 inches, and I'm going to just take this book and wrap the yarn around it a couple of times. So far I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I wrap it around 20 times, and I'm going to just cut and then take it off. I'm going to brush this. I have a brush here, and I'm going to just hold it, end of the yarn, and I'm going to brush. I think this need a pet brush. This is a pet brush, but it's very coarse. So I'm going to brush it. If you have a brush that you brush your yarn with, you can go ahead and do that, but this will take some time. But if you have felt, you can use the felt. So I'm going to brush this off camera, and I'm going to come back and show you when I'm finished how it turned out. So I'll be right back. So I brush my yarn, and this is how it looks. I'm going to take the loops of my yarn that I brushed, and I'm going to loop it through to make the beard. So I attach my yarn, and after I finish attaching my yarn, the brush that I brushed the yarn with, I had these fuzz from the yarn coming out, and what I did, I took one of these needles that you use for felting, and I take the fiber and I just do like this. I just felt it onto the, and this is all acrylic yarn, so you can see you can use acrylic yarn to do felting work on your, where you have to, I brush this so you can see you still have some of it not fully brushed, and I just take my needle and I felt it into the body to make the beard of the gnome. So you learned something new today. Just I bought my felting kit, the needles from Amazon. So here you go. I finished my beard of my gnome using acrylic yarn and a felting needle. So if you do make some of this gnome, you can go to my Facebook page and post it so I can see. This would be great gifts for Valentines. If your kids, you have small kids in school, you know, sometimes you can make one too for them to give away to their teacher, or you know, they're great decoration too. So thank you for joining me, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for joining me on Stitch and Pattern Tuesday. Remember to be kind. Until next time, bye.